Hey there, so I am creating this video. I previously created a video on how to use Anki, but I want to make an updated video. So um, if you're new to using Anki, I definitely recommend checking out some other videos. I might link some in the description of this video on, just generally how does Anki work, okay? And because this is basically to enhance the use of Anki. So if you don't understand how Anki works, there's plenty of great how-to videos, so I don't need to replicate that. But I'm going to be showing you today how I actually take advantage of Anki for my own language learning. And I think this will apply to someone who's learning any language. Okay, so a couple of things you will need here that I use is I do use the Oxford Arabic Dictionary. This is really key to how I personally have my setup in Anki. Okay, so yeah, I mean, and then aside from that, I'm also using my Notes app to record words as I learn them. So this, for example, is actually a book. It's Magic School Bus by Scholastic, right? And so I'll on my phone while I'm reading, I'll note down words that I want to add to Anki later on, or that I might want to review if I'm going to reread the book, or so that I can recognize them. This is a word that came up here. So usually I'll search it up here, mushe'un, which means radiant, brilliant, radioactive, right? So this is where this might be pretty standard, to be honest, for most language learners, right? You're recording the word, and then you might add it to a spaced repetition system. What makes my system a little bit unique here is, like, for example, when I go to add it, I actually have a unique card type in Anki that links all of these sentences, this word and the definition and sentences together in one note type. Okay, and this is where, for me, this was kind of really transformational. This came up recently, but this was really, really effective for me because, I have the word, I have the sentences all linked up in one place, and then when I go to learn as well, based on my learning options, it will only show me one of those cards, one of the new cards per day, and it will only show me one review card per day. And what I mean by that is, if I go to the options, these cards are considered sibling cards. So basically, if one of those sibling, or if there are all new sibling cards, it will only show me one of those sibling cards in a day. And that's to help space out, my studying of the words, and to prevent me from just being overwhelmed by getting them all in one day. It'll space it out. And this is really effective for me, and this has really worked for me because I'm learning the word, but generally speaking, learning the word by itself is not very effective. You're going to want context. Context is super, super important. I've previously done Anki with just words, and it's like I will know the word for a day, but I will forget it very quickly if I don't have context, right? So when I'll go, like I just mentioned, I'll add the word, I'll add the definition. I'll literally just to kind of show you how I do it. I'll copy it. I'll Command-Shift-V to paste without formatting. I'll copy, Command-Shift-V, and then I'll choose sentences that I like. I'll copy, and then I'll just cut that. That was Command-X, and then I'll paste it into the next field, and that results in, as I already just showed you, and I can quickly preview this here, it gives me that word card that I'll have to practice. And then if I go all the way to the beginning here, it'll give me these other sentence cards that will come up, like, Shamsun Mushi'a. So I have to guess, oh, okay, so this is like a radiant sun. Okay, so that's really, I think, the key thing here. I'll show you now how you can actually set this up in Anki. So once you download it, I gotta go here, I gotta go to Tools, so go under Tools, navigate to Manage Note Type. Once you go to Manage Note Type, I have a bunch of note types here. I think that from the basic, you can just go to, you can add, and then you can choose what note type you want to replicate, what card type. And so generally speaking, you're going to probably want to clone. You're probably going to have like basic, which you're going to want to clone. From there, and I'll show you the existing one that I have, you're going to click Fields, and then you have to add the fields that you want to add to your Anki note type. right? So I have here the word card, I have the definition card, and then just for simplicity, I put AR1, EN1, so this is like the Arabic content 1, English translation that I'm going to use on the back, AR2, EN2, and so on and so forth until I have up to 6 here, okay? And the one nice thing here as well is for the word card, I can reverse the text direction, so it's going from right to left instead of from left to right, so it supports Arabic text better that way. And I do that for all of the Arabic fields. It's always right to left, right? So once you've added those fields, then you go to card, and this is where you actually set up that card type. Okay, so I'll paste this in the description if you want to just copy paste it. You know, you shouldn't be worried, like even if you don't understand what a div is, or you know, like what I'm doing here. The div, which is this part and this part, it's just to style whatever is inside of it with you know, like this font size of 20 pixels, which is, to be honest, the default size, I'm pretty sure anyway. So this is the front template, so this is the front of the card. Okay, then this is my first card type, so I have in total 7 cards. So I go in here, I will change the name of the front, whatever shows up on the front, as, you know, that field that I previously populated, right? And if I go to add field, so I have my field is word, so I put word in here. On the back, you guessed it, you know, I'm gonna populate definition because that was my field type. And then here I have just front size, whatever was on the front is showing up here at the top. This part right here, it adds that line, and then I have the definition, and again I have a div where I'm just styling it. I'm adding a little bit of space between the answer and my word, and I'm also I've increased the size of the back side of the card. And so what I do from there is to create the rest of the cards, I would just add note type, and then you would replicate the same thing here, except I would change the field. So instead of it being it was word here, instead of it being word, I'm putting AR1, and then the back is EN1. And if you're asking, oh, like what the heck is this thing here? All this is doing is basically, if the backside is not populated, if EN1 is empty, that field, then it will not create this card. So that's just preventing it, you know, that's preventing potentially just having random cards. If by default, Anki, to be honest, it doesn't create a card if the front side doesn't have text. But let's say I put text on the front, but I forgot to put it on the back. I just don't want to have a random card created. Okay, and you're going to replicate that. If I go down the list, I literally just copy paste this. You know, I literally just copy paste this for each of the cards, and you know, by the time you're done, you save that. When I go to add the card, I just select that note type, and I select whatever deck I want to put it into, my card deck, and you know, you're going to be on your way. And yeah, I mean, this is, like I said, in my opinion, this is the most effective method for studying words. Now, briefly, I did want to review a couple of things that I also do here. So the first thing I wanted to point out is learning steps. So learning steps refer to the steps it takes before it's considered that you've learned that flashcard. So I personally, when it comes to language learning, I believe you need to have longer learning steps. By default, Anki has 10 minutes. If you get it wrong, it'll show it to you again after 10 minutes. And then if you get it right, it pushes it out to a day. And if you get it right at that point, it considers that you've learned that card. I think that's like way too little time to learn that content, especially for language learning. So I push it out a day, 6 days, 15 days. Once I get it right at 15 days, the graduating interval is 30 days, and it's considered that I've learned that card. Okay, and there's a balance here, because you don't want to push out learning steps too far out. And the reason why you want to have longer learning steps here is because if I get it wrong on day 6 or day 15, it's gonna go all the way back to the beginning and allow me to basically not relearn, but continue learning that card without getting my ease factor penalized. Okay, and you don't want your ease factor penalized, because otherwise that card is going to show up way too often, right? And there's plenty of other videos as well talking about that. But at the same time, you don't want to make it too long, because then you're getting penalized because maybe you had a bad day and you get the card wrong, and all of a sudden you have to start it all over again. So to compensate for that, I'm trying to, be somewhere in the middle. And so these are my learning steps. And then if I get a card wrong again after that, and it enters what's called the relearning steps phase, I give myself, I push it out if I get it right again after I get it wrong. After, if it becomes a review card, it'll push it out to 3 days. Then I'll push it out to 15 days. Then I have to, if I get it right again, it'll push it out. And the minimum interval here is 30. Right. So, and if I get it wrong, it shows it to me again after 30. So this helps here to mitigate. Let's say I got it right after 15 days. It graduated to 30 days, but then I constantly am getting it wrong. It won't constantly have me relearn. It'll give me a good amount of time to relearn it before I can put it back as a review card. Okay, and then I have bury new sibling cards and bury review cards. That's also turned on for those connected cards. So I don't see the connected cards that are new. I don't see it on the same day, and review cards that are connected, I don't see that in the same day. And the very last thing I want to leave you with here is, if you go up here to Anki, you go to preferences. I didn't know this for a long time, and I really regret it. I changed the setting for scheduling. Under scheduling, show new cards after reviews. By default, it shows you your new cards, and then it shows you your review cards, and that just didn't work out for me. I would rather see my review cards and then go to the new cards, especially there's sometimes days where I'm feeling really lazy. I just want to review what I had previously learned, and I'll just skip maybe the new cards for that day or whatever. So that's my other recommendation here, but that's pretty much my workflow here. I add that card, I add that word rather to a notes folder, a notes file. I use the Oxford Arabic dictionary to then search up that word, and then I will add the examples of the word and the sentences that it offers into Anki. So yeah, I hope that if you're learning a language, I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment. I'm more than happy to try to help out here any other fellow language learners. All right, awesome. All the best.